Santa Claus, Father Christmas, yea old Saint Nick, the man, the myth, the legend. Every human being alive knows his name, the man who goes around spreading joy and happiness to children all across the globe, known for his iconic red suit, white bushy beard, heavy-set build and magic reindeer. But today we are looking at the real story of the man that inspired the legend, Saint Nicholas. The story is based on the Bishop St. Nicholas of Myra, also known as Nicholas of Bari. In Christianity, he is considered the patron saint of sailors, merchants, archers, brewers, pawnbrokers, unmarried people and children. He lived during the time of the Roman Empire, under Emperor Diocletian, who reigned from 284 to 305 AD. At the time, records were typically written on parchment or papyrus, which is much less durable than modern day paper, which meant that records would frequently have to be rewritten by hand on different material in order to preserve the information. Therefore, there is limited details about the actual life of St. Nicholas available, though all historians agree that he was born in the city of Patara on the south coast of Turkey. But not all can agree on the name of his parents, with some accounts ranging from Epiphanius and Joanna to Theophanes and Nonna. All that is known is that they were wealthy Greek Christians and died during a plague epidemic when Nicholas was very young. He learned about Christian generosity from his parents at an early age and inherited the family fortune when they died. Keeping to his Christian faith, he distributed the family wealth to the poor and became popular in the local community for his good nature and kind generosity. He continued to harbour himself a great reputation by gifting gold coins into people's shoes if they were left outside on the street for him at night, and would typically try to hide his identity using a cloak. His generosity with his wealth became legendary, and stories of the people he helped became widespread and included him rescuing girls from prostitution. He is alleged to have heard of a devout man that had initially been wealthy but had lost all of his money due to the plotting works of Satan. The man could not afford dowries for his daughters, which at the time was a payment that a lady's family would offer to a male suitor for the acceptance of a marriage proposal. Without the money to pay this, the daughters would likely have remained unmarried and forced into prostitution to financially provide. Saint Nicholas was far too modest to help the family publicly, but is said to have dropped sacks of gold through the window of this man's house for 3 nights. The money was used to pay for the dowry of each of his daughters so that they could be married off instead of needing to serve the family's financial needs as prostitutes. It is said that on the 3rd night, just as St. Nicholas was dropping off the final bag of gold, the man actually caught him, but broke down on his knees thanking him for his unrivaled generosity. Though, as humble as he was, St. Nicholas begged him to tell no one about his kind gifts. On top of his legendary generosity, it is also said that St. Nicholas was a miracle worker, something that was still reported in the aftermath of Jesus. Whilst going on a pilgrimage overseas, it is said that the ship he was on was nearly destroyed by a terrible storm. St. Nick was able to use prayer to calm the waves and cause the storm to subside, leading him to be venerated as the patron saint of sailors and travellers. He was also a working class hero, saving people that had been wrongly sentenced to execution. He is said to have saved the lives of 3 men that were scheduled to be executed by appearing in front of them, pushing the executioner's sword to the ground, releasing the men from their chains, and then publicly chastising one of the jurors for accepting a bribe that led to the convicted men's wrongful sentencing. He was also a master of the supernatural, chopping down trees that had been possessed by demons and resurrecting 3 children that had been murdered by a butcher during a famine, who had then placed the children's bodies into a barrel and pickled them in brine with the intention of selling them as pork. It is said that St. Nicholas was visiting the area to check on the hungry people, saw through the butcher's lies and resurrected the pickled children by making the sign of the cross. It is said that it was this event that led to him becoming the patron saint of brewers due to the barrels, and of course children in general. It was during this famine that St. Nicholas was also able to convince sailors who had a trading ship docked at port and were bound to deliver their cargo of wheat and grain to the emperor himself to donate 2 years' worth to help the hungry people. Knowing that they would likely face repercussions after the emperor's men would weigh their cargo, the sailors reluctantly agreed after St. Nicholas informed them that there would be absolutely no consequences for their kind generosity. However, after reaching their final destination, they were astonished to find that their cargo of wheat and grain had not diminished in weight, despite them donating so much to the people in need. During a pilgrimage to Egypt and Palestine, he is believed to have lived in a crypt near Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus. To this day, there now stands the Church of St. Nicholas, built atop that very same crypt. Shortly after his return from this same pilgrimage, he became Bishop of Myra, after the previous one had recently died, and the priests got together and all agreed that the first one to enter the church that morning would be made the next bishop. St. Nicholas received this honour after deciding to attend the church that morning to pray, something he frequently did. The Roman Emperor Diocletian was known to ruthlessly persecute Christians, and so bishops like St. Nicholas suffered. At one point he was imprisoned, beaten and tortured for his faith, but was released after the accession of Emperor Constantine the Great. St. Nicholas also supposedly attended the First Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. Unsubstantiated legends claim that he was temporarily stripped of his titles and imprisoned during the council for slapping a heretic, but no official documentation of this event actually exists. St. Nicholas sadly passed away on December the 6th, 343 AD. Though the direct cause is unknown, it was most likely natural, due to him being in his 70s at this point. Regardless, the day of his death became a celebration for Christians around the world, as St. Nicholas Day. Less than 200 years after his death, St. Nicholas's generosity and endeavours lingered, and the St. Nicholas Church was built in Myra, under the orders of Theodosius II. The church was built over the ruins of the previous one that St. Nicholas was previously the bishop of, and his bones were moved into a sarcophagus in the new church. In 1087, while the Greek Christian inhabitants of the region were subjugated by the newly arrived Muslim Seljuk Turks, and soon after the church was declared to be in schism by the Catholic Church, a group of merchants from the Italian city of Bari removed the major bones of St. Nicholas from the sarcophagus in the church without authorization, and brought them to their hometown where they are now enshrined in the Basilica di San Nicola. The remaining bone fragments were later removed by Venetian sailors and taken to Venice during the First Crusade. Most of his bones were preserved in his crypt in Bari, but in the late 1950s the crypt was undergoing much needed restoration, and scientists were allowed access to the bones of St. Nicholas for study and analysis. They finally confirmed that he would have been over the age of 70 years old when he died, was average height and slender to average build, but would have suffered from chronic arthritis in his spine and pelvis. In 2004, researchers at the University of Manchester were able to reconstruct St. Nicholas's face based on the data gathered during the 1950s analysis, and concluded that he would have been 5'6" and had a broken nose that was partially healed, which coincides with the events that caused him to be imprisoned, beaten and tortured for his religious beliefs. In 2014, this facial reconstruction was updated by the Face Lab at Liverpool John Moores University, and in 2017, researchers from Oxford University were able to analyse a fragment of the pelvis, and confirmed via carbon dating that it would have been from the correct era in which St. Nicholas lived. In modern Greece, he is amongst the most recognisable saints, with many still celebrating St. Nicholas Day on December the 6th every year. Sinterklaas is a figure in Dutch tradition based on the generosity of St. Nicholas. Celebrated on this day every year in the Netherlands, it involves a figure dressed as St. Nicholas in his red cloak, riding across rooftops on a white horse and listening for the sounds of singing children through their chimneys before leaving them gifts and sweets in their shoes. This has evolved in European countries to be celebrated on the day of the birth of Christ, while keeping with many of the Dutch traditions, and even adopting the name of the Dutch figure Santa Claus. Although it has been confirmed that St. Nicholas lived and that his generosity was legendary, accounts of his life did not surface until 200 years after his death, with many details still missing, leaving many of the stories and miracle workings up for debate and likely exaggerated by the Christian faith. Although there is no denying that Father Christmas couldn't be modelled after a kinder and more generous man, the mysteries surrounding the life of St. Nicholas and the powers he possessed will no doubt continue to leave us seeking answers. Hello guys, this is Rob from Seeking Answers. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. If you do want to see more, please consider donating to Patreon or clicking that join button below to become a channel member. Unfortunately, YouTube's monetization doesn't really cater to the content that we make, so we do need all the help that we can get. I also realised that not everyone is able to give a monthly payment, so there is now a PayPal link in the description if anyone does want to donate a one-off payment. Doesn't matter the amount, any amount is appreciated. And if you do a one-off payment, you'll be able to request a case for us to cover, and it will really go towards helping the channel out and continuing to grow the community. Any amount is appreciated and it will go towards keeping this channel alive and making more content, going on location more. You will get perks in exchange and you will help really give this channel the boost it needs. Thank you for all of your support and tune in next week for another video.